Hey everybody, it's Sam here. Thank you for watching. So today I'm going to show you how to make the 6x6 shutter blind cards using the die set. This is how it looks. You just pull the tab and it will reveal a different image underneath, and that just slides back down. I've got all different examples. You can also have it with a plain shutter effect and then your image. You've got Father Christmas there, and one of my favorites is this one. Just love it. Love the snowman. There's another snowman there as well. Frosty wishes. There's lots of different ways to use this, but I'm just going to show you I'm going to show you this way today actually, and because obviously you'll know how to stamp on the front. So let's get started. So this is the 6x6 mechanism. So you get 8 dies, everything you need. I just pop mine on my magnetic sheet there, and then the papers that I've used, I'm using the gingerbread house one here. You get a lovely selection of all festive scenes there, but we've shrunk them down so they fit nicely into these frames. So first of all, you want to cut the largest one here. Okay, I recommend a smooth cardstock. You'll be stamping and colouring onto this, so I've die cut that one there, and it's a heavy weight as well. One of those, and then this one is your matte layer, so that will cut your frame with your pattern paper, or you know, you might be cutting this in some cardstock and then heat embossing or embossing it. Make sure that the thicker part is at the top. That's will go on the top of the card, so just make sure if you've got a directional paper it's the right way. So I've already done that one. These are your pull tabs. That's the support for the back and just makes it look nice. So just cut one of those in the plain, and then you want to cut one in the with the slots. You want to cut one of this one here, okay, and then this is the stopper. So I've cut one in the cardstock, but I've also cut 2 using some foam here. If you don't have foam, just cut a few of these and stick them on top of each other. These are going to help as like little tracks on the side. You don't have to add these. To be honest, I haven't done them on a lot of those samples, but I do think this will help you get just making sure that it, you know, you pull it up and down nice and straight. So cut 2 in foam, 1 just plain. And then for the shutters, you want to cut 1 in the smaller one, okay, and then 3 in the larger, and there for the bottom. So that's everything cut. I've got a 6x6 card blank here, so that's all ready for me to stick everything on. Okay, so what you want to do first of all is take this one here, and this flat side here and the flat side here need to sit over the top of these pieces. So you kind of want to push that down so that can go over, but at the same time you need to do the top one as well, so you've got to do both at the same time, like so. Okay, and when you slide that in, you'll see it will fit in. Now you'll have a little gap here. I've got that on all of my samples, but if you want to get rid of that, you can just take a little bit off the bottom. So just take that one away, and now if I just slide that back in again, there we go. Okay, so that's what you want to have, and then you want to attach that. So you just get your glue and just slide it underneath there all the way along, keeping it pushed down, and again like so. So you can see there, 1, 2, 3, you got 4 openings. What I also did do is when I die cut that, I just went over the score lines. I always do that, and I recommend doing that just to prevent any cracking. Next, you want to take this one and this piece here. Now what I've done with these, and what I recommend you do with all of the sides really, is, there's my little bit of wax. If you've got any old candles and you've got the bottoms that, you know, have never kind of melted, that's what I've got there. I've just kept a bit. I recommend that you just rub it over the edges. If you haven't got wax, you could use your glue eraser, even your anti-static buddy, just something that's going to help everything glide. So I'm just popping it all around the edges if you get any of the wax coming off, it's not going to damage the cardstock. But I found it's a bit like when you wash your car and then you clean it with the wax and you buff it off, it goes really smooth and shiny. We kind of want that. I'd also recommend doing it on these pieces in here as well. So maybe before you put it together, just go over all the kind of areas where you know you're going to have that movement. And then, like I said, if you've got any of the wax that's just fallen off, just buff it all off. It's not going to affect the cardstock in any way. But you'll be surprised the difference that makes. And I'm using a smooth cardstock as well. So you don't want anything that's going to catch, you know, anything that's kinetic. It cannot have, you know, any rough edges. Textured cardstocks are not going to be the best thing. I mean, to be fair, this is slightly textured, you could argue. So we'll see. I've not actually put this one together yet, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So you're going to start with the bottom and one of the larger ones. You're going to slide that in there and you'll see it will fit in perfectly. And then I'm just going to add some glue. And then you just want to push that down on there and make sure it's straight. You'd be surprised, it's easy to, you know, kind of pop them in slightly angled. So just make sure you've got the same piece there, width along this piece here, and it's nice and parallel. Then take another of the larger ones, slide it in the next slot, and again, when you lay it down, make sure that they are perfectly parallel with each other, because this is what's going to slide up and down, so you want them all the same. And then the next one, and then that last one. Okay, and you'll see mine is slightly lifted. I just put a little bit of a curve into them, not much because it needs to be able to slide in, but just a little lip on the edge there, just very slightly, and that's just going to kind of help guide it out. Okay, so that's what you want to have there, and then you can stick this one on the back, and it's just going to tidy that all up, and it's going to conceal those pieces that could catch. Okay, so I'm going to let that dry. What you can also do, depending on the stamp set that you're going to use, so I'm going to use the Christmas tree for this one. In all of the sets, they have the pull stamp. So I'm just going to, you can see there, so just take that one out. But if you're just using the mechanism and you don't have the stamp sets, this one I have, which is the Push Me Pull You stamp set, and it's got every action you can think of, and you've got the pull there, so you could always use that if you don't have any. So you want that to run right along the top. Now, if you were stamping onto this piece, and you'll see that in my other videos, then you would now lay your stamp over this if this was plain white cardstock, and you'd stamp your image just the same way. Okay, so next, so I'm just going to let that dry. Next, I'm going to take my pattern paper piece and stick this on, and you'll see the thickness of this will fit perfectly into this section here. This big section is the bottom, because it's going to be the space for that to sit in there. Okay, and that way you know you've got this piece the right way up as well, because some of you might be like, well, how will I know? If you've got it that way, so you've got that large section, you want the large section at the bottom. And then if you stick your paper down first, then you definitely know that you've got it in the right orientation. Okay, so again, I'm going to use my stamping platform, and I'm going to use the bottom tree that's all decorated, and you want to position it so it's more towards the top, because this bottom panel here will come down and leave about, I guess, about 1/4 of an inch white there. So I'm going to bring it up a little bit higher, because my sentiment is going to appear, and it's going to be the Let's Get Lit, because it is one of my favourites. So I'm just going to sit that just underneath. You want to make sure that it's all going to get hidden. And you'll find you'll just have to push down a little bit more where it just overlaps on the cardstock. But the good thing about using the stamping platform is that if you've missed any areas, like I have there, so the Let's Get Lit is fine. So I'm just going to remove that, because I don't want to push down any further, but I can still see the ink on my stamp. So there we go. I'll just go down the bottom there. Okay, so that's all stamped nicely. Okay, so now I'm going to colour that in. So I just coloured it all in, and if you just go around the edge of the tree with yellow, it will look like it's glowing. I just think it works perfectly with that tree. So next we can start to assemble. So you want to take this one. Now you've got your 4 panels here, and you've got your 4 slots. 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to slot them in each one. So you can see I'm just start with the bottom. You have to bend this out slightly, but it doesn't matter because it's all going to be hidden. Just get that in there and you'll see it start to come through here, okay? And this is where I was saying about anything rough, this is where you would notice it. So you've got time to take it out, you know, use your anti-static, your glue eraser, your wax, whatever it is, and just make sure that it's all going to go in. And then you just need to kind of, I'm just folding each one back and kind of clipping it in. And eventually they will all go at the same time. So it just takes a little bit of practice, but once you've done it, I've done quite a few now, you'll see it will go in and eventually it will all slide down, just like so. Then with your stopper, so you've got your 2 in foam, or if you've layered them up, and then I've got my 1 there. So I'm just going to flip this, well, actually, first of all, you want to pull it up until they all disappear. So there, that bottom one's just disappeared. You want it to just be gone, don't put it right up, and you'll see you've got a gap here. And that's where you're going to stick this piece in. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue at the ends there. And you want to butt that right up to the, like the T-bar piece there. Okay. Now that's going to stop that piece coming out. So now you can just push that back down again and it's all going to hide it. Now, these are the pieces that I said are optional. I haven't done them on all the cards, but if you were to stick these so they run just next to where this moves, can you see that? It's just, you could still, can you see it kind of rocks? So it could still, so you can see how it could go off in one direction. So I think by just adding these, it could help you. So like I said, optional. I'm just gonna, you want it almost touching, which is why also the self-adhesive is good, because then you haven't got any glue, you know, going in places that it shouldn't. Right, so we want to fold these pieces in, give them a good burnish, like so. Now I think I'm going to use tape because this is a textured cardstock. I think using the tape's going to be better, so I'm just going to stick some down each side here. Okay, so just make sure that those are still free, but I've got the adhesive on both sides and I've just taken the backing off the top there. So I've got it on a top fold in 6x6. You can have it as a side fold if you want, and this will fit perfectly in the center. And just push that foam down as well. And again, you can give it a test now. And you've got that lovely movement. And then I've just taken some of the candy cane here. You've got the lights, you've got the crackers. I've tried to make sure that there's something, you know, shown on all the samples, so you'll see them on the Facebook page. But I just thought maybe have a group of them down there, or maybe I'll have that one there. Yeah, I think I'll just have them down there. You want to make sure whatever you stick around your frame doesn't interfere with this, or if it does, lift it up on some foam. So if I give you an example, like here, this one Gemma's done, so the present overlaps this, but it's lifted up on some foam, so it's not going to interfere with that mechanism when it moves. So just have a little think about, you know, where you want to stick your decoration. So that's the finished card, quite plain on the front, but then I think you get a lovely surprise when you pull the tab there and you get your sentiment. You can stamp your sentiments on these pieces here. You can obviously stamp them along here if you're not using pattern paper, or just stamp them, cut them out, and then, you know, stick them wherever you want. But it's a really, really fun style. I'll just bring back in some of the other ones. You can see there's that one there. You got the Santa. Like I said, love the snowman as well. I just think he's got such a nice pose when you open up the card. So yeah, there you have it. So I hope that's helped you put this all together, and the hints and tips are all going to be helpful as well. All the product used will be linked in the description box below, and I'll be back again soon with more tutorials. Take care. Bye.